talked to a student recently at one of our woke college campuses who said she's required in every class to introduce herself and to give her pronouns. Well, I'm Ted Cruz, and my pronoun is kiss my ass.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, here's Johnny.
Bam! Welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel. It is Monday, and it is time for the monologue and Q&A session with you guys. If you're a member of the preparedmind.club, a paying member, ooh, so scary, $2 a month, 7 cents a day. Wow. That's a lot of money. Same with Subscribestar, $2 a month, 7 cents a day. Either way, you can join us right here live, Monday through Friday. I do my 0 dark 30 in the morning because, well, basically no one else is awake at that time. But in the afternoon, I want to share some time with people I care about. Preppers, Americans, patriots, and veterans, just like you. So let's do it, shall we? I did that, Ted Cruz, my pronoun is kiss my ass, because I'm having a kiss my ass kind of day. It really is. It's that kind of day, folks. This is incredible. This dumb bitch can kiss my ass. Her name is Maren Morris, and she apologized on RuPaul's Drag Race. Folks, RuPaul's Drag Race is not about fast cars. It's about drag queens. RuPaul has been doing drag forever, right? Basically introduced it to normal America decades ago. RuPaul is this black dude, dresses like a woman, all glammed up and stuff, right? Well, they've taken it so far now that RuPaul has got Drag Race, and they play their fucking commercials all over the TV. These fruitcakes, and they are freaks. And I don't mean that in a I like you kind of way. And they splash it all over regular TV. You can be watching a family show, and here comes RuPaul's Drag Race. So now Maren Morris comes on and apologizes for how country fans and country music artists have treated the LGBTQ community. Well, get this. That dumbass, Maren Morris, that stupid bitch, doesn't speak for morally decent country folk, nor does she speak for true Americans. She's speaking for herself. She's sorry. She apologizes that country folks don't like that trash. Well, I don't think the country folks asked Maren Morris to apologize or say sorry. They think that they're a bunch of freaks because they are a bunch of freaks. If they want to be treated fine, you get treated fine in your own community. I would not get in a spaceship, fly all the way to, I don't know, pick a fucking star system, Alpha Centauri, Vega, pick one of those, right? And show up on their planet and expect all those beings on those other planets, alien life form, to accept me the way I am. Of course not. I'm one of those screwy humans from Earth. But these freaks come to our world and they want us to accept them. You know, sorry, my pronoun is kiss my ass. Now we're going to take another step in the direction. That's right. Take a wild freaking guess at this one. Sponsored by the Jim Jones Juice. Now, if this was my tragedy that I had to deal with, I would be more than irate. A 2-year-old child has died. This isn't the first child to die, folks. This is another child that's dying. 2 years old, suddenly dies. Geez, surprise, surprise. One day. The next day after receiving the Jim Jones juice, oh yeah, and the flu vaccine. Why the hell is some parent giving a 2-year-old child a flu vaccine? Children are supposed to get sick so they develop natural immunity to viruses and flus and colds and all kinds of shit. Parents are jabbing their kids with this shit. Oh, it wasn't the Jim Jones juice. Oh, no. This happens all the time, right? It was the baby formula that did it. If this was my child, I would have lost my fucking mind. But what is it that we know about Democrats? Even if they didn't abort their child, they have a soft spot in their heads. There's a soft spot between their ears. There's a soft spot for abortion. Well, I lost my child. I guess it's okay because it's kind of like a postpartum abortion. You know, it's okay if babies die all the time. I mean, look at all the abortions that happen. Is this their fucking thinking? Take a wild guess what they're thinking doing this. Well, I guess it's kind of sad, but we can live with it. Really, folks. The world doesn't think that way. Some of these sick fucking lefties do, but not the world. Get this. In England, they're plastering papers everywhere. The BBC is the virus. At 6 different BBC buildings in England, they covered those buildings with photos of people who died from the Jim Jones juice. Right? This is fucking brilliant. We need to see more of that over there, and we need to see it here in America. In America, it needs to be plastered everywhere, on government buildings, on supermarkets where people, you have to put this where people live, where people shop. I mean, it'd be great to put it on CNN and great to plaster Fox and NBC and MSNBC, plaster the pictures of people who were killed by Jim Jones juice all over their building, across the street. It needs to be plastered on fast food everywhere. It needs to be plastered on every Piggly Wiggly, every Kroger, every Albertsons, every Publix, every supermarket across the country needs to be plastered with pictures of dead people who died from the Jim Jones juice. Oh, I'm in a fist fighting and fucking kind of mood right now, folks. Unbelievable what's going on. Jolene let me know that I need to attack the YouTube shorts and go after the TikTok crowd and really spread the word again. Not be so apathetic as if she and I and Uman and everyone else were apathetic. But we're going to start turning it up again, folks. We're done with the holidays. It's time for action. Shit is the fan is upon us. It's basically, folks, World War III on every single level of our lives. How can I expect you? How can you and me expect everyone else to do something when we aren't stepping up in our own lives? That's what I do here every day. I get people ask me, John, how can you do the job? You do 0 dark 30, then you go to work, then you come back and you do more. Why? Because someone has to set a fucking example. Someone has to spend the time doing this. Someone has to be out in front. And you are here with me because you get the information, the satire, you take it to others you know. We've got to do this, folks. We've got to do it. And I bring passion and energy to this because I give a fuck. There's a lot of people out there that just don't. And they don't lift a finger. And then they want to bitch and moan. Well, get this, folks. Bill Gates, that's right. Gil Bates, Master Bates, is out there running his fucking soup cooler. Did an interview and said, fake meat will eventually be very good. He refuses to answer questions about his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, the convicted child molester who just managed to hang himself while on suicide watch in government prison. Right? Now, I have this to ask. If fake meat isn't good now, then what the fuck is it? He says it will eventually be very good. How will it be eventually very good? I mean, what is it, crappy tasting? And eventually it'll taste good? Is it unhealthy and eventually it'll be very healthy? Not capable of being digested and processed by our bodies. So eventually we'll be able to digest this shit they want to feed us? How long do stupid humans have to buy this garbage, this fake meat and bugs, eating excrement? How long do they have to eat it? Do they have to eat that shit before they try and force it on all of us? Take away our eggs. take away our dairy, our beef. Now, this question was asked also. The price of eggs has gone up because we're told, well, all the excuses I've seen online are, well, all these chickens are dying from the bird flu, and so there's not as many eggs. Okay, that being the case, why hasn't the price of just chicken meat skyrocketed and tripled, quadrupled, gone up 500%? If there's no chickens for eggs, then there's no chickens for eating, right? So chicken price has gone up a little, but eggs have gone through the fucking roof. Explain that. Anyways, back to stupid ass Bill Gates. If he won't answer questions about his role, his relationship, his good buddy, Jeffrey Epstein, the child molester, why should we trust him when it comes to fake meat and his dubiously questionable ethics and his vaccines and his charities? Bill Gates is an extremely dangerous human being, folks. You see, I'm not dangerous. All I want to do with you is ask questions. What do you think of that subject? What do you think of that topic? What do you think of these events? I've got some satire for you. Right now, if you've got questions, get them down below. Get them to Jolene. Get them to Uman. We got a lot to talk about. Okay, here we go. A tactical commander for the Washington, D.C. Capitol Police. This is not a regular police officer. This is not some no-name rookie. This is not just anybody. It's a tactical commander, kind of like SWAT or CERT. But for the Washington, D.C. police, came out and, while under oath, said that the agitators who removed the fencing on January 6th of 2021 were agitators and highly trained. Cerveza sneeze. Now, a lot of people don't realize it, but there was a big fence that was put up around the Capitol so no one could get up on the steps and knock on the door and scare all the politicians inside who were busy screwing us over. No, folks, before everyone showed up, these highly trained agitators, according to a tactical commander of the Washington, D.C. police, right? They came in and opened the doorway to let people in and onto the steps. How can the people be expected to know that they're not allowed there, that it's trespassing because access to the property, the public property, the U.S. Capitol, the people's house, was made available for them? This was a planned false flag, and we all know it. And now we have further testimony under oath that this is what happened. Okay, McCarthy, Kevin McCarthy, Speaker of the House. Anyone hear him say anything? Where is the video, 14,000 hours of video footage he said he was going to release? Well, let's see it, you rhino son of a bitch. Put it out there so we can see this. That footage of these agitators, these so-called Trumpers, will be seen. And I'm willing to really go out on a limb here, folks. Maybe I've seen some of it. We should see the footage when they start taking this fence down. How much do you want to bet police stand around and watch him do it? How much do you want to bet these agitators talk to the police? Would you be surprised if some of the police actually walk up and talk to them, don't stop them, even assist them? So that, yeah, when the protesters come, they can just come right on in and let the games begin. People like Ray Epps, come on, we got to do stuff. He throws shit at the police. He doesn't get arrested. Unfucking believable, folks. It really is. It really is. I'm going to go back and we're going to do this again. A former American Idol contestant, black man, singer, dies suddenly. How old was he? Oh, let me tell you, he was only 31. Guess what? Apparently, he had a heart attack. Once again, young, vigorous, healthy-looking dude has a heart attack. Take a wild guess. And by the way, YouTube still refuses to allow open criticism, questions, comments. I'm not allowed to play quotes from Fauci and other scum that are lying. Nope, nope, nope. You just have to take a wild guess. What is going on, folks? Go ahead. Take a wild guess. Let's do this. You want to take a wild fucking guess about something else? Take a wild guess on this. I wonder why. Former, folks, a former commercial airline pilot, meaning he used to work for American Airlines, United Airlines, Southwest Airlines. You know what I'm saying? A commercial airline. Well, guess what? He's revealed. He's come out and he's done an interview. And he says, the super elite people who can afford to own their own fucking jet, guess what they want? Guess who they want for their pilots? They want pilots to fly their personal jets to be unjuicinated. That's right. They want unjuicinated pilots. I wonder why. Could it be? Is it possible? Do you have any doubts? They don't want their fucking pilot keeling over while they're flying around. Unbelievable. Yep, there it is. There it is. You want some more unbelievable? Where are we at? We're halfway through my monologue. I am fucking livid today, folks. So I'm going about business, doing my work, minding my own business, and this got sent to me. I haven't said this guy's name in a little while. Ruby Rod. That's right. Ruby Rod Rosenstein. Ruby Rod Buttstain says the Department of Justice just needs to ask Biden if he was aware that documents were in his possession. Interesting. Ruby Rosenstein, right? Ruby Rod shows his smarmy little face in the media and says some really stupid shit. He wants Joe to be asked if he was aware of the secret documents being on all of his properties. Folks, Joe can't remember what he had for his breakfast, much less attest to anything, right? And now when a crime is committed, we have to ask and then take the word of a criminal, the criminal, and say, hey, were you aware? And is that supposed to exonerate them? Okay, let's see. John, were you aware that the $100,000 that was stacked in that bag that was handed to you came from a bank? Were you aware that that was wrong? How did Joe not notice these fucking boxes in his garage next to his Corvette? He's just like, there's some more boxes in my house. Nothing to worry about. He didn't lift the fucking lid on these strange boxes that showed up. Look inside and see, fucking bam, classified. Bam, bam, top secret. Where the hell is this guy? You're just supposed to be allowed. No, I'm not aware. So being not aware exonerates you from a criminal culpability, responsibility? Really? I'm not aware. Well, John, did you murder those people? I'm not aware that I murdered anyone. Oh, well, that's fine. Thank you, John. You're free to go. The evidence, secret documents, classified documents, top secret documents, national security documents, meaning nobody gets to have them. They have to be secured. Your awareness of them, right? Well, what if someone snuck into your house, John? Snuck into your house and put some classified documents there. And then the police were called. They showed up and found these classified documents. Well, let's see. I don't have access to classified documents. I don't have access to Secret Service, FBI, CIA, Department of Homeland Security, National Security Agency personnel to ask them, would you please give me some national security documents having to do with the money and the dealings I've been doing with China and Ukraine and George Soros and Bill Gates right? I don't have any contacts. So if I were to say, these aren't my fucking documents, it's kind of believable. The fact that there's documents about Joe Biden with Joe Biden's name on them in Joe Biden's house that are top secret. Yeah, that's a little more believable that he knows something about it, don't you think? I mean, since when? Never mind. Democrats are involved. Of course they're idiots. And common sense is thrown out the window. Ruby Rod, what a piece of shit. I wish, folks, I wish Ruby Rod would say, John, I would like to spar with you in a boxing ring. We'll have medical physicians around, and we'll have just a good old-fashioned gentleman's boxing match. How good would that be? Now, before I move on, fucking Ruby Rod, what a piece of shit. All right. I did get a birthday card from Jolene. And it actually has a Mark Twain quote on it that I wanted to share with you. He wrote, "Too much of anything is bad, but too much good scotch is rarely enough." Fucking brilliant. Thank you, Jolene. Additionally, she sent me something else. And I'll be reading this every year from now on at Christmas. Along with 'Twas the Night Before Christmas, from now on, I'm going to read about hookers and blow and how they save Christmas. Hookers and blow save Christmas. It is an adult children's story, but it's fucking funny. And so she wrote here, "Happy birthday. P.S. Now you have proof of where you spent all of your money. Hookers and blow." I tell you, they're and that's the only hookers and blow that you can probably write off and not go to jail for it, unless you're, Hunter Biden. Then you can both do it, the real hookers and the real blow, write about it, release it to the public, and you still won't get in trouble. Okay. Have you got your questions down in the comment section so that Jolene has them, so that Uman has them, so that we can get it on? Are you ready for this? I read this and I about lost my shit. Let's just warm up with this part.
Hell yes, we're going to take your AR-15, your AK-47. We're not going to allow it to be used against our fellow Americans anymore. Hell yes, hell yes, hell yes, we're going to take your AR-15. Hell yes, your AK-47. Hell yes, we're going to take your AR-15.
Oh, hell no.
Hell yeah.
Now, today is Martin Luther King Jr., the federal holiday to celebrate the birth of the man who became the leader of the civil rights movement of the 1960s. Martin Luther King. Every major city, even minor cities, have Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard, Parkway. So dumbass, let's go Brandon, Joe Biden, Gigi the Ding Dong was at an MLK breakfast today. First, folks, he's been lying about his civil rights activities in the 60s. Folks, Joe Biden is a member of the Democrat Party. They were opposed to the civil rights movement. It was the Republicans who passed the civil rights bills of the 1960s. Republicans, not Democrats. They've been fucking lying for decades, trying to steal that thunder, trying to make it look like they give a shit. It is the Democrat Party, folks, that was the founder of the Ku Klux Klan. That's right, the KKK, the venerable. Let's burn a cross on your yard and hang you with some rope, a noose. That was the KKK. That was the Democrats. So Biden was at an MLK breakfast. And what did he have to do? Did he talk about civil rights? Well, sure, of course. But he had to come out and threaten you, America. He had to come and talk shit to you, Mr. and Mrs. Joe and Janet America. He had to threaten us. Here's his quote. If you want to take on the federal government, you need some F-15s. You don't need an AR-15. Number one, kiss my ass, Biden. Number two, nobody needs to take on the federal government with military power. No one wants to, right? It is the federal government that is coming after the people and taking us on. They're threatening with their F-15s to take on our AR-15s. Now get this. I don't need a missile or even an AR-15 to take an F-15 out of service. Did you know that, folks? All you got to do is walk by an F-15 while the turbines are spinning in the engine. And toss a few rocks or a couple of nickels into the engine, and that will end that plane's career. So imagine what a few rounds from an AR-15 would do to those ceramic turbine fans. It would chew them up, and they would spit out like teeth kicked out of someone's mouth if a horse's hoof made contact. Kapow! But Biden, he's special. So number three, kiss my ass, Biden. Why does Biden feel he needs to attack Americans and our rights, our God-given rights? Shouldn't he be wondering if he is going to be prosecuted for illegally possessing documents and carelessly storing them at various unsecured personal locations of his? And number four, the federal government is run by idiots. So fuck off, Biden. I'm in that kind of a mood. It's just incredible. You don't, if you want to take on the federal government, we take on the federal government by voting. We take on the federal government by voting. If we wanted to take on the federal government in force, Joe would know it, and he would be a very, very scared, stupid man. Every time the people decide to take on a government by force, in every instance, it ends very badly for the government. I will explain. I'm not talking about the USA versus Afghanistan, but if you look at what happened there, a bunch of fucking mountain goat herders fought our military. All the F-15s, F-14s, F-16s, F-18s, F-22s, took them on. They didn't quit, and they're still there. In fact, they own that country again. But let's talk about when a country is turned on by its own countrymen. What happened when King Louis decided to be an asshole? The French people swarmed the palace at Versailles. They swarmed the Bastille, the Gulag, and they took their country back. When American colonists went after the world superpower, the Brits, in 1776, even though it was a tiny fraction of people fighting, they kicked their asses. Let's see, was it the Philippines or Indonesia last year where the capital was overrun by tens of thousands and kicked their leader out? Every time the people decide it's time to take on the government loses, folks. The government loses when people, whether or not they have rockets, whether or not they have airplanes, whether or not they have tanks, the people always win. They'll win the day. Sometimes they may lose the war, but they win, and they make one hell of a mark. So Biden, why don't you go bury yourself in Mount Cheyenne and threaten us some more? No one is threatening you. No one's threatening insurrection. No one's threatening violence. No one's threatening a revolution. But Joe Biden seems to be really worried about it, does he not? Why would he be worried? Unless he knows, folks, that what he and the Democrats and the Rhino Republicans and all the bureaucrats and all folks of big corporate, big pharma, big military industrial complex, they're breaking the law. They're violating our rights and they're fucking us over. And they know what they're doing is wrong and that they deserve to be violently thrown out of office. Just asking some questions. asking for a friend, right? Unbelievable where these fucking people get off. I tell you, what a day. What a day. I talked about the old lady, 85-year-old Jewish lady, second time in her life being thrown in a concentration camp by the German government. Unfucking believable. It actually happening, folks. What planet do you live on? I've got more stuff to talk about, and I'm going to do it. But first, we need to do this. We need to do some Q&A, and then I'm going to really share with you some shit, right? Biden's toast. It doesn't take a violent response, folks. It doesn't take a violent accusation. It doesn't take a threat on my part because I don't do any of those things. All I have to do is speak the truth, right? The truth will set you and your mind free.
Are you ready?
The more minds that we set free in America, the more people will be on our side when shit hits the fan and gets really nasty. I want the people out there in my 10-mile radius to not look at me and see me as the bad guy, but look at government as the bad guy. Now, where do we go from here, right? Where do we go from here? Jolene, let's toss a few people up on the board. Let's see what we want to talk about, what's coming from the audience. And it is the Italian hillbilly, none other than Kaz himself. He says, regarding sparring with Ruby Rod, it's called mutual combat, and it's legal in Texas if both parties agree. Mutual combat used to be called a duel. Now, Kaz, is mutual combat allowed to occur to the death? See, I don't want to kill Ruby Rod. I just want to spar with him in a gentleman's sports sparring contest. We'll be pugilists, if you know what I mean, right? But yeah, I think it's great being able to challenge somebody to that. Now, sparring and dueling actually has very common, shall we say, history with something called trial by combat. Folks, this is a world far different than what you see on TV. Reality is far different. There used to be a belief system that God would determine who the victor would be in one-on-one combat, right? So that's where the duel came from. If someone challenged your integrity, accused you of a crime, you used to have a right, folks, at least in some areas of the world, to trial by combat, where your accuser would have to take up their weapon. And then God would decide who was innocent and who was a liar by the outcome of the duel. I just want to be a pugilist with Ruby Rod and some of these other fuck sticks like Chris Ray. I'll even take on James Comey. He's probably a little older than me, but he's 6'7", I think, so he can stand toe-to-toe with me. Hell, we'll even go old school, man. I'll put my toe on the line, and the first one to take a toe off the line loses. And I'll do that all day long with these pricks, folks. It would be something to witness. We got a pretty good jab. All right. Thank you, Kaz. Thank you. I mean, really. But I like the idea of trial by combat. Mutual combat. That's right. Shouldn't we be able to beat the shit out of each other and not have it be called assault and battery? It's so uncivilized. Then why is it that women cheer, froth just spewing from their lips as they scream and yell at people in the MMA, right, that are beating the tar out of each other for spectators' pleasure? Well, a lot of women really like that kind of stuff, right? Men proving they're actual men. I mean, and some women get really excited at a knitting contest between two men, right? Everyone has their thing. Let us move on if we shall. Jolene, who do we want to throw up there next? It is none other than East Texas country boy. And he says the economy collapsed. 2008, possibly before. Government just now admitting it with the withholding of government worker retirement accounts and investments. Quote, they won't know if we don't tell them, is what they think. We did have an economic collapse. It was heavily influenced, this collapse, or the momentum of it. The foundations of the economy were based on real estate in 2008. The collapse before that was 2001, the dot-com bust. Right, that was everyone taking all of their extra cash and throwing it into the dot-com stock market. They ran the prices way up, then guess what? All the banks sold out at a huge profit, caused values to drop, plummet. That's right. And then after everyone lost all their wealth, the banks came in and bought stuff up at pennies on the dollar, making 97, 98, 99 cents on every transaction. Can you imagine that? It happened. Same with 2008. They collapsed the system. Everyone loses. What are they doing right now? They're raising interest rates. That's right. Jerome Powell thinks he's Paul Volcker of the 1980s. And then he's going to raise interest rates and save the economy. Really? So what do interest rates mean to us? Number one, if you want to buy a house or a car, you're going to pay a lot more per month to purchase. So you're going to either, for the same amount of money, get a lot less house or a lot less car, or for the same house, you're going to pay double because interest is so high. What else does this do? Well, your credit card. Whip out your plastic, your American Express, your Discovery card, your Visa, your MasterCard. You go to use it, you're going to pay a lot more money. So you're going to be able to buy a lot less and afford a much smaller credit card payment. Your money isn't going to go as far if you finance your future. House, car, business, personal. So right now, the housing market is tanking. Auto sales, retail sales, they're bringing the economy down intentionally. They're claiming that they're fighting inflation. They're really just fucking us over, folks. They kept it going, as East Texas Country Boy points out. Back in 2008, we had an economic collapse. Since then, what did they try? Money printing. They've been money printing all the way until 22. Right? Quantitative easing, QE1, QE2, QE3, QE secret 4, 5, and 6, QE every day, all day, every day and night to keep the system floating with money. Oh, by the way, when interest rates go up, guess what? The federal government pays a higher interest rate to the Federal Reserve private bank to borrow money to run this country. That's right, folks. The country is, 30 trillion in debt? I think it's probably closer to 40, but they're telling us 30. Let's just use the number 30. 30 trillion in debt. And instead of paying 1% interest on that per year to the bank for loaning the government invisible money, some digits on a screen, that the government then goes out and says, we got money, and they start writing checks. Money creation out of thin air, just like that. And the Federal Reserve gets 1% for that. Shit, I can type numbers on my keyboard all day. Why don't I get 1%? Well, instead of 1%, now the government is paying 3.5%, 4% for that money. Right? Whatever the prime is, right, is what the government pays. Look out. We got big trouble. Well, does the government pay prime or prime plus 1? I don't fucking know. It's a lot less than what I pay. If I pull out the plastic, folks, I have, because I don't have any money to spend, I have a pretty good credit score. And somehow, some way, I'm paying 15% on a credit card? It's like, what'd I do wrong? Nothing. Oh, well then fuck you, John. Right? But don't worry, the government. It'll pay a lot less. Don't worry if, John, you had money in the bank. We won't pay you a fucking penny for it. Unbelievable. They must think we're retarded. They must think we're the most stupid beings on the planet. Well, a lot of humans are, like Democrat Congress idiot Sheila Jackson Lee. Folks, this radical leftist socialist piece of shit has now introduced a bill in Washington, D.C. Do you know who Sheila Jackson Lee is? She's been around in Congress a long time. Right? When she first came to Congress, Mad Maxine Waters looks like she does now, right? Right. When she first came to Congress, she was young. Now she's old. Right. Maxine Waters came to Congress and she was old, and now she looks like a dried, angry prune. Anyway, Sheila Jackson Lee is an idiot, folks. She wants to pass a bill. She's introducing a bill into a Republican Congress to make white people criminals. They want to make it a federal crime for white people to criticize anyone who's a minority. So here we have a special race-based rule that criminalizes free speech, right? This is so unconstitutional on every fucking level. But folks, she could have introduced this with a Democrat Congress and a Democrat Senate, right? She could have Democrat House and Democrat Senate with a Democrat president, but there's no fucking reason because it is disgusting and it is unconstitutional. So why would she do it now? That's a good question, don't you think? Why would she do it now? Why would this moron do it now that Republicans control Congress? You want to know why? Because she wants to foment racial tension, anger, and hatred. She wants people mad at each other. She wants blacks to get out there. She wants Mexicans to get out there and start pissing matches with white people. Anytime you say anything that's considered negative or you argue with them, right? You debate with them, you make a comment they don't like, that's criticism, and I'm a person of color, right? I'm a minority. That's a federal offense. That's a hate crime. I've had it with this shit, folks. Sheila Jackson Lee is embarrassed, I guess, that AOC makes her look not as stupid as she actually is, right? So she's introducing this crap. Folks, everybody is and everybody should be subject to criticisms, myself included. No gender, class, race, religion, anyone should be, not anyone should be protected from criticism or satire or a general ass scolding for being fucking idiots like these Democrats. To criticize any person of color, to criticize a black person isn't happening because, right, that person's black, right? If someone's getting criticized, is it because they're of their race? Or is it because he or she said or did something to deserve that criticism? Black, Hispanic, Mexican, Chinese, Swedish, I don't give a fuck. If you're an idiot or just made a simple error, get ready for someone to criticize you because that's what life is about. Sheila can screw off. And she is a true moron's moron in this man's opinion. To violate my rights and replace that with a government protection based on race is inviting what? It's inviting race wars and race hatred. I wish that stupid bitch and the rest of them would knock that shit off. But this is what they want. They want anger and hatred for all of us. Unfucking believable. I can't tell you, folks. I meet people of all races. The other day, I had 4 Mexicans rolling. And they're legal, by the way. They're legal Mexicans. They're here from Mexico. They're Mexicans, and they're working legally. Imagine how that works, huh? Laughing their fucking asses off because we were making jokes about who the jefe was and who was muy macho, and it was just a good old time. What is wrong with these fucking people? Everything is about anger and anger and anger and getting back at Whitey. Okay, Jolene, enough of my shit. Who wants to talk about something different? Who's up next? It is Greg Madare, and he says, hey, make sure and use some of your advertising Mr. T makes when doing TikTok and shorts. That's some cool stuff. I will. I can definitely do that. Mr. T has a lot of great little advertisements and satire. He does a great job. Can't say thank you enough to Mr. T for all that he does. I mean, this one was great. This one here. Makes you think that I've got my act together and we really know what we're talking about. That professionally done stuff. Well, I actually do know what the fuck I'm talking about because my predictions actually come true. That's right. Right? Shit has hit the fan. We're being attacked from every angle known to man. Every part of our culture, our laws, our traditions, what it is to be American, to be free, to be human, it's all under attack. Unless you are painting yourself to be an inexcusably ugly, non-existent gender and taking it in a poop shoot, you're just not a cool person anymore. Yeah, and that's just the tip of the iceberg with these fruitcakes. All right, Jolene, who do we want to throw up there next? We got Rick O'Connell. How you doing there, brother? He says, first bump stocks, now pistol braces. That's right, folks. The ATF, alcohol, tobacco, firearms, idiots, have decided they're going to write laws where none exist and assume authority that they don't have and violate rights that are well established. Now, Rick continues, twice in 2 years, the Second Amendment is under attack with no compensation for our losses. Class action suit, writing Ron D. to make Florida a 2A sanctuary state. He's writing Governor Ron DeSantis to make Florida a 2A sanctuary state. Number one, the ATF needs to be taken to court, and they need to have their rules sued. And then whoever is responsible for writing these rules, and then whoever is responsible for saying they're good, let's let them out, those people should be held accountable. Now, even if they don't go to prison, they should at least be fired for threatening people. That's right, they're threatening people. The ATF is threatening 10 years in jail if you have a pistol brace and you don't register it with them. Folks, a pistol brace does not make a gun a criminal tool. It is the criminal mind that makes the gun a criminal tool. I'm not a criminal mind. I don't commit crimes with my guns. So it wouldn't matter if I had a rocket launcher or a machine gun or a minigun. It doesn't matter what I have because I'm not a fucking criminal. But I really think it's a great idea. I think that Governor DeSantis needs to make Florida a Second Amendment sanctuary state and kick the fuck out of the feds. Kick them out of the state. Get the fuck out of here. You will not enforce any of your federal rules except on pieces of ground that fall under the, right, the clause that says that the federal government can exercise exclusive jurisdiction, right? Article 1, Section 8, Clause 17. We've been talking about it. And no other place does the federal government have any jurisdiction. So Washington, D.C., territories, forts, arsenals, right, bases, dockyards. Beyond that, the federal government can screw off. I think it's time to fight. I don't mean with guns and bullets, but to politically fight back and throw bigger rocks at them than they throw at us. Here we go, folks. Here we go. I know we've got some more stuff from you, so let's get to it. Jolene, what do we want to talk about? I want to talk about all my shit, but I want to get to you guys first. Chin Music checking in. Thanks for all your great support, Chin. He says, lack of protein makes the population weak and more controllable. Not only weak, but stupid. The lack of proper proteins and fats. See, folks, we don't just need protein. You need animal fat. Not bug fat, which doesn't exist. not plant fats, which are oils. We need animal fats with our animal proteins. Protein isn't one thing. It's not universally the same. Plant protein is different than animal protein. It's certainly different than yeast and bug protein. Now, back to Chin. As if most people aren't already. Well, the reason they are very controllable, Chin, I agree with you, is because of what they are eating or not eating. They're eating garbage. They're eating soy. They're eating junk. They're eating chemicals, not food. So Chin says, my current protein load is going to cost more than my car payment soon. Oh, yeah. Yes, indeed, it is. I tell you, thank you for that perspective, and hard to argue with you. I can't argue against you. I can just argue in favor of what you're saying and add more to it. Thank you, Chin. Who else, Jolene? We're down to our last few minutes. Jason Walker says, what do you prepare for more? Staving off starvation or the zombies trying to get your stash? Well, this is an interesting question, Jason, but I'm going to answer it by saying to do one thing accomplishes the other. By staving off zombies, right, you keep your food and you keep them at bay. You survive. By staving off starvation, you keep your food and the zombies don't get it and keep themselves alive. And the zombies die. In both cases, by killing zombies, and you get to decide for yourself what a zombie is. The Walking Dead, right? If you are alive and you know it, if you have a future that you can see, if you have a will to live, not just survive, but a will to live, then you are alive. And in hard times, you need to survive hard times to get back to where you are living. That is, alive. Right? A live person, a live human being, a live man, a live woman. You are alive. A zombie, they're not alive. They exist merely to plague the living, to plague those who are alive and try and steal their lives from them. So, to stave off starvation means you need food, and you need to keep that food, your stash, from the zombies. To do one is to do the other. Thank you, Jason, very much. Jolene, what do we have next? We have East Texas country boy again. And he says, Biden has been stabbed in the back himself. Removed from office soon. Oh, no, not Kamala next. I tell you, you bring up some humorous points here. Number one, it appears that by taking all of these documents, and who knows how many thousands of fucking documents he has to have boxes of them at different locations. But if he did that, if he took the documents or his staffers took them because he said, take those documents, he stabbed himself in the back. He fucked himself. Folks, look, just think about it for 5 fucking seconds. 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005. Okay, let me pretend that I have some documents. Let's just say I was president of the United States and I had 1,000 documents that were the government's documents, and I took them and I put them in my car. And all of these documents prove that I'm a criminal scumbag, that I've made deals with China, that I did illegal deals with donations and campaign supporters, that I did illegal things with Jeffrey Epstein. Let's just pretend like I'm Joe Biden and I've done all these bad things. And I've got these 1,000 documents. Why the fuck would you keep them? Why the hell wouldn't you shred them into a trillion little pieces? Just turn them into fucking dust. And then you take the dust and you incinerate the dust. You catch it on fire. And you burn it not once, but 10 times to make sure all those trillions of pieces of paper are completely fucking gone. And then you get up in a helicopter, right? And you take a Raisin Bran scoop, and you stick it in the ashes, and you fucking throw it out the window, and the helicopter just spreads it all over the place. And you fly 100 miles, and you do that again with another scoop. Then you fly another 100 miles, and you spread that shit again. Right? Why would you keep the fucking documents that prove you're an asshole and you've committed crimes? That's how stupid these people are. I mean, what do you got to do? Take the paper out and go to China and say, here's the piece of paper where we agreed you would pay me $10 million for a piece of legislation that we passed. I'm here to collect. If they haven't got the money already, you're not going to get the money. It's just, why would you keep evidence of you being a criminal scumbag? Unfucking believable. Unreal. Why would you want a document that doesn't serve any other purpose except to, right? What? Unless these files, folks, are illegal things that people like Mitch McConnell did. And Kevin McCarthy. Maybe Big Marge Taylor Greene committed some crime, and he's got the top secret FBI documents on Big Marge, and he's keeping them as protection against other people. Perhaps Adam Shifty Shithead Schiff and 90 Proof Nancy did some things that are a little bit questionable, and Biden's keeping control files on them. Maybe these people are all rolling over on each other. So they all keep papers and documents, confidential, top secret, or otherwise, so that they can get each other in trouble if someone were to reveal something about them that they don't want brought out. You say, well, you shit on me, I'm going to shit on that guy over there. We're all going to shit on each other. We'll do it. Bring it on, fucksticks. But folks, they're trying to keep everyone from seeing what these documents are about because they're classified and top secret. They're trying to shove the shit right back in the horse's asshole, trying to hide it. But it's out now. We know it's out. What is on those documents that Joe wants to keep? Because if it's about him, he should have burned them. So if it's not about him, who the fuck is it about? See what I'm saying to you? It's about Mitt Romney and his dealings in Ukraine. Makes you wonder, huh? Is it about Obama and his, questionable medical surgeries? Is it about Hillary Clinton and her strange relationship with doctors and children? I don't know what any of this stuff's about. I don't even know if any of that's true. I don't know nothing. I'm just a regular guy. You can decide for yourself, folks. You can think about it. Let's watch and see what happens. Let's watch and see what the fuck happens. Okay, off we go. Let's do another one, Jolene. We got just a couple of minutes left. We got Daniel. He says, maybe Camel Toes will pick Hillary for a VP. Then we have Cackles and Cankles. Or she might pick Hunter. Cackles and Crackles. Daniel, number one, you win the gold star. You win a gold star for the jokes there. But yeah, if Biden's gone, if the idea is to get rid of that dumb old son of a bitch and bring someone else in, and they're going to bring in her, no wonder she is speechless and idiotic, because she knows she ain't qualified for the job. And she knows they've got control files on her, and that she will do exactly as she's told. And she won't make any mistakes. Well, at least the kind of mistakes that would get her in trouble. Yeah, easily controlled. But Cackles and Cankles, good God. Okay, Jolene, last one. Who do we got? It is Charles Gentry checking in. Hey, Charles, Happy New Year to you. I hope all is well in your world. And he has this to write. A man with gold cannot always find bread and swords. A man with bread cannot always find gold and swords. And a man with a sword can always find both gold and bread. Interesting, no? So a man with a sword is a warrior, whether he carries a sword or a firearm. He has the skill of self-defense, a martial artist. His services will always provide him with treasure and food, right? So you're always useful. Now, I will say that a man with gold cannot always find bread and swords. but he can give that gold up, I think, and many people would, make that trade. And a man with bread, that is to say food, if there's a shortage of food, then gold and swords will come to him, and they'll either buy it from him or take it from him. But to have all three is to be a prepper. If you've got wealth, protect it. That is, Charles says that's a Hannibal the Conqueror quote, right? Hannibal the Conqueror. It's funny. It's interesting how a lot of these famous conquerors and such were also interesting philosophical types. But yes, a prepper, folks, preps to protect themselves. They have the sword. They know that food is something you cannot live without and is difficult to get, especially in times of war. When you need that gun, you also need food. And if you're wealthy enough to afford guns and food, you just might be wealthy enough to have gold as well. So, right? Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense, and a plan. That's being a prepper, folks, and I'm glad you are here with me. Semper Fi, Godspeed, and I'll see you 0 dark 30. Oh, Semper Fi, Godspeed? Yeah, I said that. Get prepared.